What's going on, guys? It's Tremaine here, the most disciplined day trader on YouTube. Here are some executions during the afternoon. Starting off with a loss, you can see all the annotations I have. I was originally looking for buy side liquidity. We have a lot of relative equal highs, and this first trade I was looking to target all of that. Pre-market buy side, all those equal highs around 11 a.m. and you can see I take a loss there. So going at it again, and you can kind of see my thought process. Flipping my bias here and looking for something in a discount. This is a chart in regular trading hours. That is Monday's opening range gap, and I'll annotate that correctly as the trade goes on. So I believe I'm offside. I'm going to use midpoint of that wick as a short. I'm going to outline that and label it in just a minute. And I'm targeting Monday's opening range gap, and then our current new week opening gap. All of that stuff I'll outline as the trade goes on. So NASDAQ was struggling to work higher, looks very weak. It's just really struggling to make higher highs. And one thing I wanted you to notice on that first trade, I never risked more than I think like $1,400. So a lot of people see my $10,000 days, $5,000 days, and they say, how much are you risking to get that? No more than 1 to 1.5%. Okay, my account size is around $100,000, and I try to keep my risk below $2,000, which is 2%. Obviously, I rarely go near that. And I think the highest I've risked on this trade was maybe $1,600. But 1 to 1.5% risk is usually my sweet spot. And I actually added more to my short, so now I'm risking $1,300, which is less than 1.5%. And one thing I wanted to make note of is notice how I went long 3 contracts on my first attempt, pyramiding and all that stuff, but I was offside and I took a loss. So on my second attempt, I don't go long 3 contracts. I reduce my risk to 2. Okay, so it's just sound money management, risk management protocol. Whenever I take a loss on my first attempt, usually, not always, but usually, I like to scale back on my risk on the second trade, and I can always pyramid those contracts back on later, okay? So here I'm adding the consequent encroachment of that wick. That's what I use for my short. So I'm short 4 contracts, and I do want to add more and build this up because I'm looking at Monday's opening range gap down there. The high end of it comes in at around 24,870. And here, that was the buy side that I was looking at, that I was offside. All right, so we traded up into that red fair value gap. The bodies aren't closing past midpoint, so I like that. And here, you're going to see me sell 2 or place a sell order. Those 2 consecutive up close candles, if we were to cross that opening price, I'll treat that as 1 bearish order block, and I would want to add 2 more to my short, and then I'll trail my stop loss down to reduce some of that risk. I think I mentioned it in my latest video, but I never look to pyramid without trailing my stop loss down first. So I'm never just selling, adding more, and keeping my stop loss where it's at. So I like adding to my position once I've already trimmed some risk, so that way I'm not really adding on more risk per se, but the potential reward is a lot larger, multiplies really, really fast, as you're going to see in this video. So trading up in that fair value gap, my stop loss is above that order block, the last up close candle prior to the displacement that holds that red fair value gap. I don't have the midpoint of the inefficiency outlined, but the bodies are stopping smack dab in the middle of consequent encroachment of that SIBI. I like the way that's looking. Planning to add more to my short in just a little bit. Watch consequent encroachment of that wick. I want price to be sensitive there. I don't want to spending a lot of time above that. All right, and I'm drawing some annotations. I have my phone pulled up next to me as well, so I'm doing all this on my phone. But Friday's daily high, if you go to your NQ mini contract, go to your daily chart, Friday's daily high, I'm looking at as a draw. Adding 2 more to my short. Now notice my stop loss, dropping it down, so I'm risking about $1,600. 1.6%, very modest. And you're going to see me toy with my take profit. Earlier in the trade, I was debating, do I want to go for a $10,000 day? Do I want to go for 5,000? And I have a few objectives I think price can reach for on the daily chart. And to be honest, I think we're likely to expand through our current new week opening gap and opening range gap. So you're going to see me toy with that a little bit. And I'm running some fib projections here, some standard deviations. I like that negative 1.5 standard deviation lining up nicely with the high of our current new week opening gap. That last down close candle there, that's a mitigation block. Down close candles in the sell program are treated as mitigation. Going to sell 2 more to my short. Look at my stop. Trailing it down. So I've added 4 more contracts to my short, but I'm still risking 1.5%, 1.6% if you want to be exact. But look at the risk to reward. Look at the P&L. I can potentially make $11,000 and I'm only risking less than 2%. And I get a lot of questions. How do you trail your stop? How do you know when to trail your stop? Where do you trail it? That's kind of an experience thing. If you look back at my trade executions earlier on my YouTube channel, I never used to pyramid and I never used to capture bigger moves like this. I used to get in a little later. But as my understanding of price action grows and as I get more confident in what I'm seeing in the chart, and just your understanding, you trust trailing your stop loss here, you trust adding more here. So there you can see I'm trimming my stop loss down and I'm typing I'm only risking 1%, and I can make a whopping 11% assuming I do a full pull, which is $11,000 down there. So beautiful reaction off of that mitigation block. And I'm going to trail my stop right above that bearish order block. I'm going to outline it in a little bit because that's what I'm looking at right there. Okay, I want to see that opening price, want to find sensitivity there. And then Friday's daily high, that could be a partial for you, but I'm really confident in our opening range gap and current new week opening gap being used as a magnet for price action. The fact that our current new week opening gap is resting inside of the upper half of the opening range gap, that's like a nesting of PD arrays. That's like a black hole for price action. It's like a large magnet. So that's a really attractive objective for NASDAQ to reach for. A lot of fair value. All right, so I'm trying to zoom in a little bit while also keeping the important things in the chart. Trailing stop loss down. Now, mind you, I lost, I can't remember, was it like $1,200 on the first trade? Something of that sort, I think, or maybe $1,400 on the first trade. And I have around $600 locked in profit. Now I have $1,000 locked in profit. So previous loss, majority of that has already been recouped just by putting my stop at a logical level. 6 contracts are going to come off at the high of our opening range gap from Monday. Okay, that's yesterday's opening range gap, if I'm not mistaken. I have $2,000 locked in profit. There you go. Partials booked. Majority of my position scaled out. And I'm going to leave some runners. That negative 1.5 standard deviation lines up nicely with our current new week opening gap. So I'm going to take one off there. And then I think we're likely to get a full gap closure on Monday's opening range gap. So I have a limit order set all the way for the low end of that, which lines up nicely with negative 2.5 standard deviation. If you look at the negative 2.5 standard deviation, that comes in at 24,815 and a quarter, and I'm adjusting my take profit to 24,815 and 2/4, so 1 tick above that negative 2.5 standard deviation, just in case it wants to hit it to the tick. I want to make sure I get my fill. So 7 out of my 8 contracts are scaled out. Took one off at the high of our current new week opening gap. My stop loss is trailed down beneath that SIBI. That's not labeled. Not expecting that to be traded to. You can see in the top left, market open. Okay, this isn't market replay. I don't know why people are thinking it was market replay when I made $10,000 yesterday. Okay, it's real executions, real money, live data, all that good stuff. Stick around to the end of the video if you want to see me withdraw the profits and all the proof and all that funny Funny business. So we're working the high of our opening range gap from Monday, and we traded into a little SIBI, that small separation in price action on the downside, hitting it to the tick. Consequent encroachment of our new week opening gap, the low of our new week opening gap, and right there, midpoint of Monday's opening range gap. And look at this beautiful, beautiful delivery. I'm going to look to lock in some more profit in a little bit, but this is just gorgeous. Screenshotting this for the journal. Beautiful, beautiful. And there I'm managing my stop from my cell phone. So I have about $800 locked in, $1,000 locked in, trailing it above midpoint of our current new week opening gap, and it's also above midpoint of our opening range gap. So I have a lot of premium arrays protecting my stop, and we also have a fair value gap right around midpoint of our opening range gap. That could be treated as a premium array as well. Just beautiful, beautiful delivery. And I hope this is inspiring to someone, because I've made $17,000 in the past 2 days. And on both of those days, I've taken losses. So I started out today with a loss. And you can see, without having to over leverage, without risking 4, 5, 6%, you can do very well. And yesterday, I took losses and still made $10,000 on the day without having to over leverage, never risking more than 1.5%. So here's the proof and all that. Trade station, you can see the P&L, $7,000, connected green dot, all that good stuff. And my favorite part of the video, taking out the profits, $7,000. Love it, love it, love it. And there she goes. So that's all for this one. Discord members, I'll see you in the live stream tomorrow morning at 9:15. Peace.